Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw Report for Monday, the 3rd of January 2022. Not exactly a huge show here, but is what it is. And I mean, ultimately, lots of people are, I guess you'd kind of consider it excited for the new. Raw and new WWE year after day one. I'm certainly not, but that doesn't mean that some people aren't. And ultimately, it definitely makes things simple for that purpose. Royal Rumble season always does get me excited, although I probably am the least excited I would be of a WWE year for 2022 that I've ever been, and this will be my what 30 33rd year as a wrestling fan. So certainly to be least excited for a whole year going into 33 years says a lot. Anyway, obviously Raw results, fallout from the day one pay per view. Um, um, Anyway, the show opens with Brock Lesnar winning the championship from day one. Raw kicks off with a bunch of fireworks. Announcers run down the card for the night. Lights go out. Paul Heyman standing in the ring. Heyman introduces us to Brock Lesnar. Lesnar Heyman segment. Lesnar throws the steel steps to give himself a podium to stand on. Lesnar shouts out his good buddy Roman Reigns. Must be at home watching. The new and real champion Lesnar says get well soon and adds South Carolina acknowledge me. Lesnar thanks Heyman for pulling the strings on Saturday to help him make himself the new champion once again. Heyman explains that it's just taking advantage of opportunity, and um, Lesnar also would defend the title at the Royal Rumble against the winner of tonight's number one contender match. Heyman then said if Seth Rollins is such a visionary, he would realize that his wife would leave him if he couldn't beat Lesnar at the Rumble. He figured his wife wouldn't leave Roman for Kevin Owens because he can't beat Lesnar either. Heyman suggested that they request a trade to SmackDown because Tribal Chief is suddenly very vulnerable without his special counsel. Reigns got COVID because he didn't have Paul Heyman in his corner. Anyway, Heyman said that Lesnar and Bobby Lashley never met before Saturday. First thing they met, Lashley then speared him through the barricade. Lashley also speared him in the ring and put him in the Hurt Lock. Heyman then had no trouble admitting that Lesnar may not have gotten out of the hold, but suggested that Lashley attacked Lesnar each from behind. If this is a one-on-one match, Lashley would simply go down. The almighty Brock Lesnar wannabe is what he's considered to be. Heyman then puts over Big E as a great champion, and suggested he would still be champion if he did not have to face Lesnar. Big E was the challenger at the Royal Rumble and it would be an honor to watch the match. Big E would still lose. Heyman concluded that Lesnar would still be champion at Rumble no matter what. Randy Orton and Riddle have a meeting in the back. Riddle approaches Orton, says nothing, and then goes away. Orton implied Riddle needs to listen to him. Before the match, Chad Gable cut a promo before he and Otis attacked Orton and Riddle. Otis laid out Riddle with a suplex outside the ring. Match gets underway after the break. Alpha Academy defeat the tag team champions Randy Orton and Riddle in a non-title match. Riddle tries to make the hot tag to Orton, but Gable pulls him off the apron. Otis then runs over Orton before heading back into the ring. Riddle then tries an RKO, but Otis counters into the world's strongest slam. runs about 2.5 minutes on TV. Sarah interviews MVP and Lashley. MVP called tonight a Herculean task for Lashley. Lashley said Brock Lesnar fears me. Almost then is shown with Kevin Patrick before they go to break. Then there's a long AJ Styles almost video package, but Patrick asked Almost for his reaction to Styles' comments. Almost then puts his hand over Patrick's face before saying, "That's how I react, and this is stupid." Um, anyway, so there's entrances for the upcoming mixed tag match. Mixed tag ends up being Dana Brooke and Reggie defeating Tamina and Akira Tozawa. Didn't even know Tozawa was still employed. Basically, there's a miscommunication between the two. Tamina snatches Tozawa, and Reggie follows up with a flipping seated senton for the pin. Corey Graves calls the move the whoopee cushion. Not quite. Anyway, they said before the match the title could change hands, and Brooke retained because her team won. This is stupid. Becky Lynch cuts a promo to kick off the second hour. Lynch knew that this was the resolution of every woman on the roster to win the title, but she had no intent in giving up. She then said she may have tried, but then who can beat her? Lynch then has some time to reflect and realize that she's the greatest of all time. She informs the fans that she would not realize that resolution. Lynch said that Liv Morgan broke her promise to the fans and herself. Morgan interrupts. Morgan said Lynch know how close she came to winning the title on Saturday. Morgan then always gave her best, and that's what she did today 1-2. Lynch said that she was lovely and maybe she'd win the title one day, but it wouldn't be until Becky Lynch herself retired. Belair interrupted, and she said she's sick of hearing from Lynch and burying her hype. Belair then claimed that she steps aside to deal with Doudrop and gives others an opportunity to. She also said she's right in line for Lynch. Lynch then said she didn't seem interested in suggesting Belair and Morgan start a support group for people who had lost. She then realized that it existed in calling women's locker room. Morgan then said she was surprised to hear Lynch acknowledge the women's locker room, considering she's been with them for years. Lynch then suggests Morgan and Belair had an issue they needed to sort out first. Morgan and Belair give each other a look before tossing Lynch out of the ring. Belair and Morgan face off before getting into a brawl. Belair is about to give Morgan the KOD. Lynch knocks her down from behind. Owens approaches Rollins in the back, and Rollins asked Owens if she should staple Heyman's lips shut and rip out his tongue. Owens then suggested that they work together again, and then if they did, they could end up wrestling each other for the title. Rollins then said he trusted Owens and agreed to the plan. Owens is no dummy and wondered if Rollins might be lying. Queen Zelina and Carmella defeat Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash to retain the tag team championships. 2:34. Forgot they were champions. Champions retained quickly. After Zelina rolled up, Nikki Ripley acted shocked. They then played Johnny Knoxville video announcing he'll be in the Royal Rumble match. I wonder who cares in 2022 about that. Street Profits defeated Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz in 2:18. Quick match here. Ford picks up a win. Frog splash on Crews. Don't think he's long for the WWE. Anyway, Sarah then asks Damian Priest about the stipulation for tonight's title defense. If Priest gets counted out or disqualified, he loses the U.S. title. Priest then says that is dumb. He says it'll do what it needs to do to Dolph Ziggler. Doudrop approaches Sonya Deville and Adam Pierce. She's angry at Belair and Morgan are getting a chance ahead of her again. Pierce then said she's actually angry about Dewdrop asked if Grandpa is deaf and explained she was angry that same women kept getting opportunities. DeVille announced the triple threat match between Dewdrop, Belair, and Morgan next week, and the winner would face Lynch at the Royal Rumble for the title. Dewdrop is happy with that. Anyway, so Damian Priest defeats Dolph Ziggler to win the U.S. or retain the U.S. Championship in 9:37. Ziggler hits Tornado DDT off the barricade, which leads to, and then they go to commercial. Back from the break, Ziggler comes back with a nice running knee strike near fall. Ziggler then has the referee distracted, allows Robert Roode, who did not come out with Ziggler, to drop Priest from the top rope. Ziggler follows up with a Fameasser for a near fall. Can't believe Ziggler's been around all these years. Later, 15 years, a long time to be with WWE. Priest then nails Ziggler before going after Roode, then says he's about to attack Roode with a steel chair. Enters the ring instead and wouldn't get countered. Ziggler then darts around. Priest then tries to use the chair on him. Priest chucks it, and Roode insisted Ziggler used it momentarily. Ziggler tries to super kick it, but Priest counters into the Reckoning for a pinfall win. Crowd is into the last couple minutes of the match. Austin Theory approaches. Vince McMahon in the back for the segment, filmed with a couple of cameras. Vince gives him a hard time, apologizing, saying he doesn't mean to interrupt. Theory then asked about the rematch with Finn Balor. McMahon said he blew it and blows that off. And then McMahon said Theory would win and main event WrestleMania. Theory is speechless. Third hour, Miz and Maurice, Edge and Beth Phoenix segment. This is fine. Miz and Maurice enter. Miz says that he's outraged over the outcome of the day one match and that only one skull-crushing finale away from winning. Miz called himself a two-time Grand Slam champion, and he shouldn't have to prove himself. Miz mentions Beth Phoenix costing him the match and says that Edge deserved to lose because of what he did to them. Last week plays a replay of the bloodbath. Miz then says the crowd enjoys that because they're miserable and they wanted to see bad things happen to good people. But true love would and will overcome. Miz claims Edge hid behind his wife and wondered what kind of man did that. Crowd yells that he's the one that does that. Anyway, Maurice says Miz would never do that because he's brave and handsome. Maurice then said she'd punch Phoenix in the face if she's here tonight. Beth Phoenix enters to her music before Edge enters to his. Phoenix isn't surprised to see Maurice not act on her word. Edge wasn't surprised to see Miz full of excuses. Phoenix then said that it was his own idea to get involved at day one. Edge then says he has an idea too. He suggests a mixed tag match, Royal Rumble. Crowd cheers and chants yes. Miz hesitates before Phoenix presented him with an answer. Miz accepts, but Maurice wasn't happy about that. Phoenix then psyched out. Maurice then has a fake punch, and Maurice then lands on her tail. Patrick interviews Big E. He says being WWE champion means a lot to him and that it meant something to a lot of people too. No shame in losing to Lesnar, he says, and he won't do that again, and he also won't wallow in self-pity. Next chapter would be best chapter, and tonight starts with him reclaiming what's his, and nothing is going to stop him. Almost defeats AJ Styles in 346. Styles uses strikes, trying to outsmart Almost. Almost swats him out of midair. Almost then hits a big press slam before hitting a tree slam for a decisive win. Alexa Bliss journey back to Raw. begins. Rollins is out there. Uh, anyway, so fatal four way. Bobby Lashley defeats Kevin Owens, Big E, and Seth Rollins. 1840. Really good match. Big E hits Owens with a spear through the ropes. Less than a minute into the match, and he looks like he lands pretty hard. Lashley gets back in the ring. Lashley um, takes out Big E with a vertical suplex before doing the same to Kevin Owens. Crowd chants for Lashley, sprinting towards Owens for a spear outside the ring. Owens moves. Lashley comes crashing through the barricade. Big E then suplexes Rollins on the mat before clearing the announce table, but Owens saved Rollins. Owens then gives Big E the shield powerbomb through the table, leading to the break. Owens and Rollins continues to team up Lashley and Big E. Big E then gives Owens the STO. Before he runs into things, Big E and Lashley give each other a look and decide to go after Owens. And Rollins, Big E, and Lashley chase them through the crowd, up the stairs, into the concierge. And then Rollins and Big E and Lashley continue to fight the crowd. They fight near the entranceway. Owens gives Big E senton, and Rollins follows up. Frog Splash. Owens does not break up the cover. Rollins gets in to break his own cover, and then Lashley tosses Owens and Rollins, but Rollins pushes Big E into Lashley for a spear. Lashley also spears Rollins. Owens tries to stun her, but Lashley blocks it and hits a spear for the pinfall win. Lesnar and Lashley at the Rumble. Lashley gets a few moments to celebrate. Post-match, the announcers put over the win. Lesnar, Lashley at Mania, and then Lesnar in the back. Lesnar wants Reigns to know that he'd be on SmackDown on Friday, and we close the show there. Oh, I mean, I guess bookends, good way to start the show, but overall still a abysmal effort of Raw in a new year. Congratulations. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.